What's up, citizen detectives? Welcome to Yellowjackets Buzz, episode 2, where we're actually covering episodes 3 and 4 of the Showtime series. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by NYC Demon Diva Isa. How's it going, Isa? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk about these next 2 episodes. I'm telling you, I just want to get caught up.
I know. We're so biting our tongue and trying not to talk about any mysteries that have already been solved, but we thought it was important that, we're completists, and it would be good to do these first episodes, get it out of the way, and then we can really dive into things, do the back half of the season live. It's going to be awesome. One thing that I love about episode 3, and I'm curious what you think of this, is that in episode 3 of Yellowjackets, unlike episodes 1 and 2, we have opening credits and music. I don't know the name of the song. I don't think it's been given a name yet, but this very 90s.
It has a name. Hold on.
Oh, it does. Okay. Isa, knowing something more than I do.
Yes, because I was looking it up. Yes, I was looking it up earlier, and the name of the song is No Return.
Okay, so it is No Return. Yes, because that's the part that gets stuck in my head is at the end, the No Return, No Reason. The end part.
Yes.
Such a banger. This song is sung by Anna Warrenker, who was in one of my favorite bands of all time, a 90s alternative group called That Dog, released a couple of records on Geffen, including Retreat from the Sun, which if you've never heard Retreat from the Sun, it's one of those albums that's fantastic start to finish. She co-wrote some of the music on the Josie and the Pussycat soundtrack, which is also one of my top albums of all time. And this song is just so 90s.
Yes, and I absolutely love it. I was trying to figure out how I can involve a little clip of it for our intro for when we start making the shows when we're caught up, because I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with this song.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And it's Craig Wedren also worked on the song with Anna, but it's so good. Highly recommend it. And this opening VHS montage, which has scenes throughout the season, have you gone through and freeze framed or look at any of what we see in the opening credits?
Some of it, yes. There's a couple of the scenes in the opening credits when they're like playing soccer, and there's a couple of them that I try to zoom into and just trying to pick out a few things. They have the individual intro on YouTube, so I kind of have watched it more than I would like to admit that I have.
Oh my God. I'm just obsessed with screenshotting the show and trying to pick up clues. These credits are awesome. Don't want to spoil anything because some of these are from episodes later in the season, but I love that also the series ends, and I don't know if this was intentional. I need to ask somebody high up about this. Then we get to the end of the credits, we see the team walking through the hall with their Letterman jacket, and it zooms in on Yellowjackets, and I'm convinced that's an homage to Degrassi, the opening credits of Degrassi: The Next Generation, which had sort of the same thing.
That's a good catch. I don't even think I've seen that theory yet on all of the online gatherings. You need to get yourself a username and go on Reddit. You will be like the king of the subreddit there.
Maybe I have a username. maybe I post some things on the subreddit under my own name, and then maybe there's some things I'm like, maybe I don't want to do this under my own name and just want to have a little anonymity with my hardcore Yellowjackets fandom.
Now I'm going to be paying attention to everything you say on the podcast and compare it to the conspiracy theories of the subreddit. Then I'll know what your secret. I'll know your burner Reddit account.
No, I'm going to have to out myself on Reddit because I posted something there the other day that we need to people on the wrestling podcast that we do love when we go on tangents and we fantasy book things. And I posted a fantasy theory about Yellowjackets. There's no way happening. But was so nuts, I have to share it on the podcast at some point. It was so good. It's worth losing my Reddit anonymity for this. It's so good. So, okay, so we open episode...
You can make another burner account. Don't sweat it.
Who's to say I only have one? It's Reddit-y. So we have different Reddits for, different Reddit usernames for different things. There's some things, if I'm nerding out over TV and movies, I have one Reddit. And if I want to discuss something more political or maybe something that's more about where I live, it's important to have a multiple Reddit experience, I think. But
I have a few.
Yeah, you understand. The struggle is real. So we open with a memorial service with the survivors, which I believe I counted 19 survivors of the plane crash in Canada. And just straight up, if you watch this series, in Star Trek, there's the term red shirts for the extras that are going to probably get killed first. Like, you will notice when you keep watching these episodes, we only see normally maybe 10, maybe 12 Yellow Jackets in the flashbacks. Yeah. Like, they've got some extra fodder here that might be the first victims for the Feast of the Antler Queen. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, correct. And I actually freeze framed this and also counted 19. Also compare my homework to other postings online who also counted 19. So 19 seems to be the number we're all agreeing on.
Yes. Oh, but this Van, okay, so I just have to say, like, Van might be my favorite character on the show.
Really?
I love Van. The character, she is so funny. She's so quick-witted. And even when she's saying something serious, so she's giving this eulogy for the team member that they all didn't know so well. And saying she was talking about having tickets to go see Oasis next month. Now she'll never hear Wonderwall again.
There are some of the jokes that go in such an opposite direction from what you're expecting that is such a pleasant surprise. I find myself loving those kind of things where you're like, what are they going to say? And she pulls out something like that and you can't help but to laugh, but you didn't think that's where they were going with this. So I appreciated this moment a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And Liv Hewson, the actress, just to be clear, the character Van, of course, is female. Liv Hewson, the actress, is non-binary. So, of course, when I talk about she, I'm talking about the character, not they, with Liv as an actress. But but Liv is just so fantastic. And I guess they've been in other things like Santa Clarita Diet. When I have some downtime, I absolutely want to check out the rest of Liv's filmography because I'm just so impressed with her performance as Van in this series. She's so good.
She's been excellent. So I'm very shocked that you picked her as your favorite character, though.
I mean, I don't know who's your favorite overall.
I don't know. I haven't decided. So I really like Misty. I have a very, very soft spot for Natalie, but there's just something about Thaisa, man. Like I don't know. I think she's evil, and I love her.
Of the grown-up versions, I mean, Misty, absolutely.
Right.
But it's weird to have Misty as your favorite character. I mean, it's sort of like liking Omar on The Wire or one of those characters where you're like, this is not a good person. This is the person who does bad things, but I just can't take my eyes off them every time they're on screen.
I tend to go for the people that not everybody likes, so I'm not surprised.
Isa has really impressed me, and I think both performances of the character, I think that her arc has gotten a lot more interesting in the subsequent episodes. I think at the beginning it was kind of like, a state senate campaign. How interesting is this going to be? But no, it's taken some twists and turns. And in this episode, oh my God, does it take a twist that we learn some things about Thaisa's past as we're at this eulogy and we flash back to her grandmother, essentially in hospice on her deathbed. And talking with her about passing on. Now, we come back to this later in the episode, but let me ask you a question of this. So between this and the Misty flashbacks in episode 1, I'm trying to think what other series have done this. I know Lost had a lot of flashbacks to their characters before the crash. But to me, this reminds me almost more of like Orange is the New Black, how we're getting a different character to have this backstory focus in each episode.
Yes, that's exactly what I was comparing it to. Remember how I told you I got my mom to watch it? Before I got it to watch it, I was telling her that is the vibe that I got from them showing what the characters were like and how they got in trouble in Orange is the New Black. That is exactly the vibe that I get from the switching of the timelines.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. And then we go,
and it's very interesting because here we're going back to them before the accident, not just like, we play soccer. Now we're learning even more about their lives outside of the fact that they were all-star soccer players.
And it's very interesting because I like that with Ty, we're setting up like a familial lineage that, given what's going on with Sammy And like I feel like there's just this great connective tissue in this trail that they're just feeding us information. Speaking of which, we then have Thais in present day with a problem that there's an attack ad out there, and we learn. I mean, her opponent's insinuating she's a cannibal in the ad, and we learn that, I mean, it is, in addition to the mystery of what really happened in the woods, a lot of people seem to believe that they resorted to cannibalism.
Yeah, a lot of people just seem to know that there was a lot more to the story than what they're telling us. Her reaction to this ad just was something that I completely knew, that this character had a lot more developing, to do in the future, which we did see later on. But I don't know, her reaction was just insane because obviously you're in politics, they're going to say all kinds of things, but it was just such a trigger for her.
I mean, I'm just going to put this out there. Isa, if you, in a shared experience where other people were there, if there were witnesses that could talk and you had to resort to eating another human being to survive, would you feel comfortable at any point in your life saying, I want to enter politics and be scrutinized in the public eye and have people delving into my past?
No, because your past is always going to come back to haunt you. That's how these politics campaigns always tend to go. And she wasn't the only person, so she should know that somebody could talk. Yeah, no, I would not run into a politic campaign, which is why that was the first thing that shocked me about her character, was just learning that she was just going to be so public after such an experience. That being said, if you're scavenging and that's the reason why you have to do what you do, then it's different. It's survival, but I don't think that was the case.
Yeah, it's not like, it was a party. We all were drinking. There might have been some drugs going around. So we decided to eat a person. I mean, who hasn't? No, I mean, this was absolutely a necessity for survival. I mean, I don't think you judge them in that way. Maybe with the rituals and the antler queen stuff, like, okay, maybe they were like a little more into it than you should be on some levels.
just a little bit extra, right? But you know what? If you're gonna do something, you might as well go all in. Just do rituals and look crazy. You're already eating a human. What else? You know what I mean?
I hadn't thought of it that way. At that point, get dressed up. Make a festival out of it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Oh man. So Shauna then does like some of the most painfully real shit that I've seen, where she knows her husband is going to meet up with this woman and she starts setting up like, hey, I could use a ride later today. Oh, what have you got going on? Oh, you're busy. Like a lot of that, like I know the answer to this. I'm just trying to trap you and make you lie to me, but I know the truth.
Yes. Yeah, especially because she's so uninterested on anything that he does, which makes me wonder, is he stupid? Does he not see that she figured it out? Because like in past episodes, we see that he always has issues with the inventory system or whatever, and she doesn't care. Why does she care about today at 4 p.m. particularly? Like, he's an idiot for not knowing that she figured it out.
Yeah, but maybe it's not what we think it is. And to date, we have not seen what it was. There are multiple theories on Reddit over what it could be. And I think that, we talked earlier about plot devices like Chekhov's gun and whatnot. I mean, maybe this is a misdirect. We'll talk about what she actually sees, but there might be a very innocent explanation for all of this that's not always having an affair. So we do get...
Right. There's more to this story.
Oh, absolutely. And we do get, I love this show. I love the mystery and I love the series. But if you just told me the creators said, you know what, for episode 2 or for season 2, it's just all Misty and Natalie go on a road trip together. And that's the entire season. I will sign up to Showtime for 5 years. You can keep billing my credit card if you just give me a season of Christina Ricci and Juliette Lewis in a car together in character talking.
Yes, 1000%. And I also need to know, well, I don't know, we've gotten to that, but I need to know more of Misty's selection of what chocolate to get Natalie.
Oh yes, yes, and it's coming up. But she was talking about the guy she was dating that was hiking. He seemed pretty normal, but she asked for her socks and still never called again. I mean, she's just like going on and on about the series of bad relationships that she's had, and I'm just fascinated by this. I want a
Yes.
montage of Misty's bad relationships. Um,
Yes, and she won't shut up, and Natalie just wants her to shut up. Natalie doesn't even want her in the car with her.
Oh yeah, and when they stop to get gas, in fact, Misty goes in to get snacks, tries to get Natalie to come in with her, says, "Get chocolate, surprise me." And I love Misty. Like
Hmm.
same thing. Like Misty's doing that filibustering where you know that somebody you don't want to leave them alone, so you try to remember these people. There's so many chocolates: dark chocolate, white chocolate. Please come in the store. Just come. Don't ask questions. Come in the store. And we found out
Yes.
why because Natalie goes through Misty's glove box and there's the cable to her Porsche, conveniently marked Porsche. That was a very good, obvious explanation. So Misty sabotaged Natalie's car, which is why they're on this road trip together.
Yes, but again, I think Misty's a lot smarter than what than what everybody gives her credit for. And B, how did she not know? She conveniently pulls up with the two coffees. Like, are you really shocked that she sabotaged you? You shouldn't be.
Again, the thing that I like about Misty, aside from any, let me just be clear, aside from any bad acts that she might do, I really think she is okay with who she is because she has,
Right.
yes, I think she would like to find a man, but I don't think she gives a shit. I mean, basically, you know, she will be as transparent as possible in like, of course, you idiot, I sabotaged your car. Like, she's making it obvious and she just
Yeah.
doesn't care, you know?
She is unapologetically herself, and that's what makes you love the character.
Yes, so much so she comes out eating beef jerky, and Natalie goes, "Jerky, Misty, really?" Like, I do get the
Oh man.
impression. I do get the impression, that Natalie is a vegetarian after everything she went through in the wilderness.
Yes.
And Shauna loves
She's not
rabbit.
the only
So
one, right?
yeah, we'll talk more about that. But Shauna though, definitely not. So we cut back then to their rationing, and I love that they have the Snackwell's cookies, like the ubiquitous mid '90s snack that everybody was eating when fat free was the craze.
Yes.
They've got Mari's fruit
Hmm.
by the
Me too.
foot. They're rationing water. Now we learn Jackie has poison ivy. Travis is distraught over his father's death. Starts talking to his brother Javi. Javi is very much mourning their father, still chewing the gum his dad gave him on the airplane. Whereas Travis thinks that their dad was a dick and he doesn't understand why Javi's mourning him. We'll talk more about that relationship. But then, we get more of Misty with Coach Ben secretly feeding him to rebuild his strength with food she stole from the food stash. Um, and he's not interested. He's very not happy with the way it's gone. And
No.
then we get Lottie, kind of our first. Well, we did a confirmation before the flight, but we have Lottie with her meds that we see her clearly running out, which will play into some of the story as it goes on.
Yes.
Uh,
Lonnie is such an interesting character, right? In my like, there's just I feel like there's a lot of layers, and maybe we'll get to know a little bit more about her, as we move forward.
Absolutely. So here's the biggest plot movement that happens in 1996. They spot a lake while out hiking. And they decide as a group, we have part of the group who wants to stay, part of the group who wants to go. And it is a real division between the group in terms of like who's really in charge. Because I believe it's Thaisa who spots the lake and wants to go. And I believe it's Jackie who wants to stay, correct? Am I remembering that right? Oh, did I lose you? Oh, Isa, did I lose you? Can you hear me? So weird. We'll see if this reconnects. There we go. Okay, so make a note to edit
I'm
that on
back. I'm
YouTube.
back. Sorry.
Make a note to edit that on YouTube after we post it, and I'll edit the audio. Okay, so we'll take
Okay.
it back. The biggest development that happens is while out hiking, Thaisa spots a lake and basically points out to the team that we've only got a couple days worth of water. The rescue team hasn't shown up yet. Let's hike to the lake. And Jackie, as the captain of the team, says, no, we should wait here. And this is a big balance of power where we start to learn who's really in charge. I mean, Isa, let me ask you, like, once we're in the woods, I mean, Thaisa, I'm following Thaisa. You know, I'm not following Jackie anywhere. Jackie seems very disengaged from the survival process.
Yes, but I never thought that Jackie was going to be able to be team captain in the woods. She clearly always comes off as the kind of character that is not her environment or the atmosphere where you would expect her to thrive at. So I that's when I started figuring out that she wasn't going to be our main character, the person that we would be tuned into. Like I thought we were I was captivated by her in the beginning. Now here I'm starting to see that she's starting to fade into the background.
It is interesting. I mean, because they have this idea that the coach set up in the first episode that Jackie has influence. But yeah, I mean, as you know, as we start to see throughout the series, it's just some of the other team is rising to the challenge in the occasion. And Jackie, we see in this episode as poison ivy and just seems like, you know, she's content to sit around and wait. So it's an interesting dynamic. When we go back to present day, Sean is now pulling up at the furniture store and following Jeff, and where she end up following him to a hotel, crouching down while driving behind him so she doesn't get spotted. Like, oh, just poor Shauna at this point, you know?
Shauna goes through way too much, which I noticed that a lot of people. There was one of the subreddit conversations about like the most like disliked characters, and I'm like, of course she like this woman's been through so much. It's not that she's dislikable; it's that she just has a bad hand handed to her from the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, it's tough, you know. But I think as we learn more about her story and her dynamic with Jackie, I think it makes sense. You know, this transition from her being essentially someone's best friend to feeling like she's her own main character in her story, and how successfully does she do that? I mean, I feel like there's you know, a theme that's going here. But back in '96, we see the group hiking and they see a bear that is just getting torn apart by a buzzard, and they're saying, what did that? It's a pack of wolves. So pretty sure that's some foreshadowing into like what wolves can do if they could take down a bear. And then, okay, did you catch this? Thais is at the playground. Sammy gets her into fight, pushes another boy down. We see more that Sammy's got some behavioral issues. But Thaisa gets a call from Jessica Roberts, the reporter we saw in episode 1 who was poking around. So Jessica Roberts is working with Thaisa. But did you notice that Jessica Roberts is at the same gas station that Natalie and Misty were at, where they stopped and got jerky and chocolate?
Yes, I did catch that. I did.
So she is following them on the road trip.
She's noisy. She is my least liked character. This
I
Jessica Roberts character. I don't like her.
I understand the need for her character, but yes, she is not. I mean, she's by default a not likable character. She is only there to cause pain and suffering for our survivors.
Right.
We get back to the hike in the woods. We see more of the symbols on the tree, which is interesting. See Thaisa with her wife talking about Sammy, and this happened because, as she puts it, her son thought that another kid was calling her a cannonball, which is great, and that's why Sammy punched him for throwing shade at his mom. And you know, Sammy gets punished. That stare. Sammy just got like the best stare. Gets sent to his room, like, oh, this kid, like I admire what he's doing, but he's creeping me out, man. You know.
That the kid is creepy, and I can't wait to find out more about why he is the way that he is. I know we gave him props on the first episode, but every time that a scene comes on with Sammy, that Sammy's on, he just does such a good job at capturing you and being so mysterious. And for somebody that's not even part of the main cast, or that hasn't gone through, you know, the issues that the girls went through, I think he's probably my favorite non plane crash part, like
Really?
character on the show.
He
Yes.
just terrifies me. Forget Freddy Krueger, forget Jason. If I woke up in the middle of the night and I walk out and I see Sammy holding his doll, just singing Sammy, 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 staring at me, like I'm dying from a heart attack at that point. That would absolutely do me in. So, okay, a moment of joy for our Yellow Jackets in 1996. They find a lake. They have found a water source. They are not going to die of thirst.
I
And they
love
go
the scene
swimming.
when they find the lake.
So
It's
good.
such a happy thing, and it's just like you forget about all of their troubles. You forget about what is coming, what's about to happen. It's just they have just this magical moment between all of them, and it's just a moment of hope. You know what I mean? Like, and it's awesome. It's awesome because for a second I didn't even think they were gonna find the lake because they hiked for so long to try to find it. So I love the joy that they were able to show us in the episode for that moment.
A great scene. They play the Cranberry song "Dreams." It's nice to see them not just be miserable in the woods.
Right, right. After a lot of days of pure misery, they finally get a glimpse of hope or just happiness or able to forget the situation that they're in.
And I think that's good too. I feel like a lot of survival drama and survival stories like overlook the idea that even if you're in a terrible situation, you could still have moments of trying to achieve normalcy. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think they do that very well throughout the series. And we'll talk more about that.
Yes.
The girls also are talking, and with Travis being the only eligible boy there because Javi is very young and Coach Ben is considerably older. Yes, noticing, is Travis hot?
Yeah. For some reason, they all start finding Travis hot all of a sudden. I thought that was funny.
We go to modern day. I swear, I went to high school with so many guys that looked exactly like Travis. Who like didn't seem engaged. It's kind of like eyes looking down at the ground, like didn't want to talk to people. Like, so it's interesting to even see him come out of his shell a little bit in this scenario. A trip, could you imagine that trip he didn't even want to be on? His dad's one of the coaches. He gets dragged along in this trip, and now he's stuck in the woods.
Yes. What a horrible situation to be in.
Oh, absolutely. We go modern day. We go Misty and Natalie breaking into Travis's house. And we do see in there, okay, so this was interesting. Natalie thinks she sees a grown-up Travis. She finds a photo of the two of them as grown-ups, confirming that it hasn't been 25 years. They have been together more recently. But
Right.
he is nowhere to be found, but we do get that confirmation.
Yes. Yes, which I thought was super interesting. And I kind of had the suspicions about it, especially with I really want to know, and I hope we get there, but I really want to know what happened and how they ended up splitting apart because her reaction to finding out that Misty found Travis was just such a desperation to go find him herself that I really want to know what happened between them.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense that there's something there and there's a story, and we're going to see that unfold in future episodes in the past, but I'm curious what happened once they got back. At the lake, Coach Ben can't go to the lake, so Misty's going to bring the lake to Ben. Take off your shirt and I'll squirt you. And he says, I'm not doing that. And she proceeds to just pour water over his head.
Oh, Misty.
Oh,
her obsession with Ben, it's so psycho creepy, but yet adorable.
But it's so real though. So let's have some real talk. Let's have some Glenn and Isa real talk here. When you were a kid, did you ever have a crush on someone that was like older, like totally unobtainable, where it was like, you thought you were playing it cool, but probably in hindsight, you were probably a little bit misty, a little dorky, and how you portrayed yourself,
No, I never told anyone to take their shirt off and I will squirt them. No.
Okay, maybe not that, no. But you know what I mean, though.
I know. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. We all been there. Yes.
Oh, I had a TA. I was a TA in the library in like 8th grade, and we had like a first year out of college teacher that was doing her, assistant stint internship in the library, and she was only maybe like 6 or 7 years older than me, but I like such a crush on her. And I would think about it now and I cringe so much of my behavior, but we like talk about music and I just look at it now and I was like, okay, I was just like a kid with a crush, but yes, I probably came off, I didn't like say, take off your shirt, I'll squirt you, but I probably came off pretty awkward and dorky,
Probably, yes. My first crush was like in high school when I was in middle school, and I tried my best to act like a high school girl, even though I was in like the 7th grade. I probably looked so lame.
So I think that's part of it. Okay, so I'm not like destroying black boxes or like destroying airplane transponders, but I'm just saying Misty's behavior is very relatable to a lot of us on some levels.
Right. She just takes it. She's just extra about it, but it is.
Yes. So back in the present day at Travis's house where he's not there, they find a pay stub. He's working at like a ranch. He's not making very much, but then they also notice there's a very expensive bottle of liquor there. I believe a $200 bottle that he was drinking out of. But he's not there. The police come and arrest them. Oh, and then speaking of awkward, I couldn't believe this. Shauna at the hotel. She knows her husband Jeff is at the hotel. He's meeting up with Bianca. And she's trying whatever it takes to get the room information out of the desk clerk, saying, I'm supposed to meet him here. He didn't give me the room information. I'm like, sorry, we can't do that. She's like, okay, I'm with Homeland Security, and I've been tracking this guy, and I can't pull out my badge because he'll blow my cover, but I need you to tell me this. Like, Isa, what tactic would you have taken to try and get this room information out of the desk clerk?
I will pretend that I'm in the room with him. That's his wife. He should know everything there is to know about him. Given the last 4 digits of the social, like of the credit card, given the last name, the phone number, like say, hey, he forgot to register me. I'm his wife. Look at ID. You know what I mean? There's so many other ways that she could have gone about this.
Yeah, or just straight up try and bribe the desk clerk. I mean, why not at that point? But Homeland Security, she went there, and then wouldn't you know it, Adam, who's been trying to get Shauna to come get her car repaired so they could spend more time together. Adam spots Shauna and goes up and starts playing along with the lie and says, Agent, there's a phone call for you, to get her out of this incredibly awkward situation. She asked,
Right. Why was Adam there?
Well, he says he was there because the bar makes, I believe, a great martini and wants him to get a drink.
It's BS.
This, like, Adam is so suspect, and we're going to talk about this more when we get to like 5 and 6. And we don't know yet, by the way, when we're recording this, we don't have a clue who Adam is, but they've perhaps given some clues or given some misdirects. I don't know. Back in jail, Natalie tries to get Taissa to bail her out. That's not happening. We learned that Taissa paid for the rehab. Taissa does not want Natalie and Travis back together. Is very interesting, that interesting detail that Taissa has been essentially helping take care of Natalie all this time. We go back to the lake. Chicken fights are happening, of course, because, do people still have chicken fights when they're large groups in pools? We get up on the shoulders?
I don't think so.
I think that was like a 70s, 80s, 90s.
So, but I grew up in Puerto Rico. We do things different here. I don't even think I've ever been a part of one. So
I think I was a part of one once, but it's like a game of Marco Polo. Like we've all done it, but no one really enjoyed it. But hey, this is all they have.
Right. No, I never been a part of that. But as long as the girls are having fun and forgetting about their plane crash.
Yes, and that's important. But then they see a reflection. They see like some light from the distance. And a very short hike, apparently, because in the next scene, they are at the cabin in the woods, the creepy, creepy cabin where Lottie has a bad feeling. They go inside. It looks like it's been abandoned for at least a decade. And we see more about Jackie's poison ivy. And Van finds a big stash of antiquated porn.
You think it's poison ivy?
Oh, yeah. But Jackie has poison ivy, definitely.
That's the worst case of poison ivy I've ever seen.
It's bad, but she puts lotion on it, and I don't think this is a spoiler. Poison ivy doesn't come up again after this episode.
Right.
So however bad it is, like, Because I would kind of like what you're saying when I saw the episode, I was like, oh, is this going to turn into like gangrene or something, or some horrible things happen? I think the poison ivy is there just to show that like Jackie is not having a good time, is not acclimating, and that this is just going to be like, think about this in hindsight. Like I think the poison ivy is there to show this is going to be a rougher haul for Jackie than some of the other girls.
Right. Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I just thought it was like a flesh eating something. I was probably just trying to look more into it, but this episode just showed it and it just looks so bad. I don't know who did the makeup. I know you research a lot, but I don't know who the special effects makeup was, because they did a good job with this. It was so simple yet effective.
We should find out. And in the postseason, we want to do some interviews with the cast and crew, and I want to talk to the effects team, the costumers. Like I want to know about all this stuff, because this has just been like next level, the work that they've done here. It's been fantastic. Travis grabs a dirty magazine and goes off in the woods where Javi starts bugging him, and Javi's still chewing the gum. Travis makes him spit out the gum. I get what Javi was doing. It is sentimental. It was the last thing his father gave him, but maybe we're going to learn more about like why Travis had these issues with his dad.
Mm-hmm. Yes, a lot of daddy issues in this show.
Oh my God. Misty goes to make her call. Oh, okay. So then we have, and then we can analyze this a little bit. Adam and Shauna having a drink, and Adam is telling a story about the NYPD not being thrilled, and something heavy was hanging from airline cable over the city, and that's what brought him back to New Jersey, or brought him to New Jersey. They quote a Kurt Vonnegut book. Like they're hitting it off, it seems like. And at the same time, Shauna is watching, seems Jeff walk by with a blonde woman named Bianca, or who we are led to believe is Bianca. And
right.
I will say that to date, as Isa and I have seen episode 6, up to episode 6 time of watching this, we have not had any other developments on Bianca. So based on this one shot of the two of them walking through a hotel lobby, what do you think is happening?
I don't know, because I personally think that he's either getting his own kind of therapy. I don't think it's cheating.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I thought this was like, that was innuendo. Like,
no. Like, I think that he's going to therapy by himself, and he doesn't want to make Shauna feel bad about it because she's the one that has like the most issues. You know what I mean? When we get to the next episodes, I can explain to you why that's my theory. But I don't think it's a cheating thing. I don't.
Okay. I have a crazy theory, but I'll tell you my sane theory. Okay, I'll tell you my real theory.
Okay.
I think, well, it's hard to say this because there is something else in another episode that this is detailed, but I think he is planning something. And I think what he's planning involves the hotel. And if you're planning something at a hotel, sometimes you tour the ballroom, you check out the menu,
but
you check
why
out the
would the
rooms.
Text message say our usual spot?
Because maybe it's just a party planner that's like really. Have you worked with a party planner before? They can be aggro, man.
Yeah, and a lot of times they try to sell you that one spot, not like not open to what you want. But I don't know. It just sounded like this is a recurring meeting at this exact same spot, and you're either cheating or having therapy.
Therapy at a hotel?
I'm going with therapy. Yes.
So let's fantasy scenario here. You're involved in a relationship with someone.
Okay.
He gets a text.
Okay.
10:30 or 10:41 at night, I think it was, from a woman named Bianca, who says, tomorrow, same spot, don't be late. And you follow him to a hotel where then you can't get the room number, but you see him later walking through the lobby with a woman. And he says, baby, it's not what it looks like. I was having private therapy in a motel room. How
it was
would you
a nice hotel, but I see your point, but I'm just saying, I think they, based on what we know about Jeff, they try so hard to make it look like he's cheating that I'm starting to believe he's not cheating.
Yeah, I 100% believe he's not cheating because that's too easy.
Right.
It's too obvious. And with what happens next, which I guess we should talk about, Shauna's storyline in the present ends with her seeing this and then going and getting a hotel room and going in with Adam as a response to what she believes is a confirmation of Jeff cheating. And now Shauna is going to act out on impulse, almost perhaps in a tit for tat sort of situation.
Yes, bad decision. We'll see. We'll see where it goes, but this is a bad way to react to that. Like she should have just confronted Bianca and just not gone and cheat and be like, we're even.
Well, and that's why I think with Shauna, I think part of the reason why Shauna's character works so well and why Melanie Lynskey is doing such an amazing job conveying this is I think Shauna, whether it was, sleeping with her best friend's boyfriend and some of the other behaviors we've seen, I think Shauna, is in some ways her own worst enemy. Like, she's a very smart person. She obviously got accepted to Brown early, but I think when it comes to life smarts, she doesn't have it all figured out. She makes some bad decisions, and the character, Melanie plays her in such a way where you could see the weight of the character's bad decisions, as being the number one thing holding Shauna back in life is Shauna.
Yes, 1000%. This is probably, I'm going to clip this because you just did the most perfect analyzing of the Shauna character that I could put out there.
And she's so good. I'm rooting for her. Melanie Lynskey is such a good actress. She brings so much wit and humor and just emotional complexity to the character. I just love what she's doing, but it's that thing. It's it actually, what she reminds me of? It's kind of like the same Walter White situation. It's I understand why they're doing this. And I understand that they're getting a thrill out of navigating a complicated situation and doing what they think is the best thing. But ultimately, this is bad for the character, bad for everyone around the character, and it's ultimately not going to work out for them in the end.
Right. Agreed. But also, well, I don't know, because we see so many layers to the Shauna complex. But when it comes to men/boys, she doesn't make the best decisions. And we see that from the beginning. So I wasn't really shocked that she jumped into Adam's arms as, retribution for what she thinks is going on with Jeff.
And Adam is very charming, and the actor that plays him is incredibly handsome. I mean, Jeff's not a bad-looking guy, but come on. Come on, let's be real.
You also have to remember that it seems like, and maybe I'm just going too much into depth here, but Shauna stayed with Jeff. This is her first relationship. She hasn't lived or experienced anything else. So having the attention of an Adam might seem appealing to somebody that's lived this life with the same person for so long. And they're in therapy. They're in couples therapy. So obviously something is lacking in their life. And Adam is bringing that excitement. And like I said, as somebody that stayed with your high school sweetheart, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I can see the need to want to experience more.
And we can map that trajectory, and this dovetails nicely in what we're talking about in a moment with episode 4. But the trajectory is this. We are basically led to believe Jackie believes Shauna has never had sex before in 1996. We know Shauna has been hooking up with Jackie's boyfriend, Jeff. They get back from the plane crash, and it looks like at some point shortly thereafter, I think the wedding date was 2000, I want to say, or 2001 on what Misty had of their marriage license. So they get back in 98. She ends up marrying Jeff shortly thereafter. They have Callie in, Callie's a teenager, so Callie maybe 2005, 2006. I think we see her birth certificate as well. So, I mean, you mapped it out perfectly, Shauna's trajectory. She really missed out on probably a lot of experiences that she's in a state of arrested development, and that does play heavily into episode 4. But Misty's phone call does work. She calls Kevin, who it turns out she's been secretly texting, pretending to be Natalie.
You gotta love Misty.
Oh my god! I'm just saying, if I'm in the Misty gets shit done. You might not always agree with her motives. She might be a little awkward, but I'm saying if I'm putting together a team for survival in the woods and in life, Misty, not a bad player to have on that team. Just don't get on her bad side.
Yeah, and she's always one step ahead of everything, and I appreciate that about her.
Jackie and Shauna, Shauna gives Jackie a pep talk because she's having trouble dealing with all this. Coach Ben not dealing well to losing a leg. Flies swatting at him, he falls, he goes down. Misty goes to comfort him and pick him up, and he just smacks her, get away from me, don't touch me. And she's still comforting him after. When she was caressing him and saying it's all going to be okay, and I just have to bring this back, Maybe I was thinking of Bray Wyatt and The Fiend. It looked like she was about to snap his neck, the way she was holding his head.
Yes. Don't you love that we watch so much wrestling that even on a show that has nothing to do with it, we'll find some kind of way to relate it to it?
And it was going to be creepy. Missy's like, it's all right. It's all right. You survived because we needed you. And I thought she was just going to off him right then and there. Thought that was absolutely going to happen, but no. But you could clearly tell she likes being needed. Okay, so now here's the big movement of Taissa. Oh my God, with her grandmother who is dying and seems like pretty at peace with the death and dying process until she starts having a vision of a man who's going to take her eyes. And then I don't even think this qualifies as a jump scare, but we look in the mirror and all of a sudden we see the man with no eyes, which freaked me the F out watching this at 2 a.m. the first time.
Yes. It was weird. It was scary, and agree. It wasn't. I don't consider a jump scare like you said. I think that, like we talked about earlier, this show, their scares are creep scares. They're not necessarily that jump scare. But I just wasn't expecting that at all. I don't think anybody was.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this, because I think this is the start of it, right? And there's a debate about this. And I'm surprised people are debating, and I'm curious if you are as well. Do you think it's even a question whether Yellowjackets is a supernatural show?
I don't know. And I think the debate, and I think there's too many layers to answer a solid yes or no. Sometimes you just want a yes or no answer, and I can't do that with the show because I'm starting to see elements of supernatural, but it doesn't feel like it should be a super. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. So I know we talked in the last
What
episode.
Do you think? Do you think there's supernatural to it?
I do. And here's the thing. I won't spoil it. I know I've been, pestering you to watch Evil on Paramount Plus. Evil in its first season really seemed to try and play it both ways. Is this supernatural, or is this some sort of explainable psychosis or phenomenon? I won't tell you what they decided on, but they tried to walk that line. I think based on this episode, I mean, my first thought based on what, we cut from this to the scene with Sammy, and Sammy's talking about the bad one. I mean, as my wife put it, like, does this family have The Shining, to borrow something from another franchise? Like, that was where my mind went instantly. I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't think of Yellowjackets as a supernatural show, but I took this between the grandma, Taissa, Sammy. It was like, okay, something runs in this family, some connection with the spirit world.
Right. And we see more of that later on. But yes, I can't not say this is not a supernatural show. But if you're watching or curious about watching it, I wouldn't say it is a fully supernatural show. It walks a thin line, but there is some factors.
It is very grounded in reality. But I think that between this scene, the stuff with Sammy, the woman in the tree, there could be explanations for all of it. But I think that, we'll talk about future episodes. I mean, I feel like I'm okay if it's got supernatural elements because it's fiction. This never actually happened. This is a made-up story.
Right.
Would a real person do what Misty did and destroy the means of them getting rescued? I don't know. There are other questions we could ask about survival. I'm sure you've seen the threads on Reddit. I've seen them too. I just bought that book, How to Survive in the Woods. Like, are they doing everything? Did the writers think of every angle? I don't mind if it's supernatural.
Right. I agree with you on that. That's a great take.
So we go then, interesting series of scenes. Taissa, 96, goes up into the attic where Lottie is freaking out, and they see the skeleton of the previous inhabitant. It looks like he may have shot himself, but the skeleton is in the attic. We see child Taissa at her grandmother's funeral, opening her eyes and seeing like her eyes all whited out. Super scary.
Yes.
And
mad creepy.
But you know what? This scared me the most. Taissa going down the stairs, stepping on a doll's eye, and then seeing the eyeless doll of Sammy that she finds. Like, that freaked me out more than any of the other stuff.
Yes. Yes, there's nothing scarier than a doll. I'm sorry. And there's so many like doll possession things, and you had the creepy kid that maybe that's why Taisa's my favorite character because there's so many layers to the story and what's going on there, and then maybe that's why I appreciate it more. There's just so much going on in that house.
Absolutely. And then at the very end of the episode, we see they go to where Travis works to look for him out of jail, Natalie and Misty, and they find Travis hanging from a crane, like a very elaborate death looking like he killed himself. Driving back, Misty reveals that she took the notepad that he had and sketched out what it said on there, ran the pencil over that old trick where it said, tell Natalie she was right. Natalie doesn't know what they're referring to. And Natalie believes that
Right.
he did not kill himself, believes that he was murdered.
Yes,
What an
I
ending to the
agree. I'm
episode.
1000% on that. Yes, I'm 1000% agreeing with that. I think there's more to it, and we learn more. But yes,
What do you think Natalie was
my
right about?
heart broke for Natalie at that moment
Oh, absolutely.
because
Because
we're learning more about her connection with Travis, and I feel like because of all the issues that she went through before even the plane crash, things that we learn about her, I feel like Travis was her comfort zone, and for her to lose that, I was heartbroken for her.
no, and that's the thing. And I think that we see it in future episodes. I mean, so now we know. I like the way that they did this because we hadn't really seen them connect previously in 1996.
Right.
Going into episode 4, I think it's actually kind of brilliant how they set up this death that really, I'm not on rewatch. I agree with you, but on first watch, it was like, well, I didn't really know Travis. He was this guy. I didn't really they're telling me this, but seeing her reaction now as we get further into the series, now it's like more sad to me.
Right, right, exactly. On my second watch, I was probably even like 10 times more sad for her.
What do you think Natalie was right about that Travis was writing down?
I don't know. I wonder if it's that somebody spoke or that I don't know. I've been speculating. What do you think? I've been speculating. I think maybe it's either that somebody talked or that somebody in the group, maybe Natalie, had suspicions about them, and Travis is now confirming that she was right. What are your theories about this?
Okay, I'm going to be a little more poetic. And I'm going to say
Oh
that
God.
Natalie at some point said something along the lines of like, we might be rescued, but we'll never escape this. This will haunt us for our entire
Oh no,
lives.
you want to know what she was right about? She was right about vaginas having monologues. Sorry, I had to go there because that's one of my favorite lines.
That was good. That was good. But no, I think but I think it's a more general idea because I think that they have to realize that, or maybe something along the lines of Natalie said, we could go back to society, but we'll never be back to normal. Like we will never, this will
Right.
live with us forever, essentially. Something along those lines. Um,
Yeah, I can see that. That is poetic. I'm over here trying to solve the crime while you're just talking about life things between them, which I can see that happening. None of them has ever been able to escape what happening at that plane crash.
well, okay, so we'll go even further into this because episode 4 opens with going back to the plane crash and Natalie having a vision of her father with half a head, like
Oof.
a yeah. I again talked. I had to convince my wife
My
to keep.
God.
I had to convince my wife to keep watching this show because not that she didn't like it. She likes the actresses. She likes the performances, but she was just like, it's just too bloody and intense. Like because episode 1 and 2 are really heavy on like somebody's getting eaten.
Yes.
Like this is gonna get dark. I like how episode 3 and 4, and this is why it works to talk about them together. It's more about the mystery and like the layers because we've backed off, and
Right.
a lot of people are grumbling. A lot of people are like, when are we getting to the cannibal thing? Like, I want to see like warring female tribes clad in fur, like out there hunting each other. But no, now we're getting into the mystery and the supernatural. And I like that, but it's funny that I was like, see, it's not, after episode 3, I was like, see, it's not just all bloody, gross, intense. And then we open with this, and it was like, I was like, I'm doing a podcast on this. So I'm like, just come on.
Yeah,
Like,
it's almost like they realized that episode 3 was a little too tame, so they were like, okay, we gotta really turn it up at the beginning of episode 4, so they know we're still here.
oh man, so that was a nightmare, of course, that Natalie was having.
Yeah.
Her recurring dream, present day, she's driving, gets a call from Misty, who's reading an article of like things to say and not to say to somebody that lost somebody to suicide. I mean, Misty seems very convinced of that, but Misty, in her own awkward way, is not able to provide Natalie with the comfort she needs. And Natalie is hellbent to solve this mystery. Natalie believes it is not suicide.
No, she's never gonna be able to comfort Natalie the way that Natalie would want to be comforted. But the fact that she's trying, her little, I don't know, I'm telling you, this is all about approval. She wants to be liked, she wants to be needed, she wants to nurture people. Misty she's a kind soul. She's just weird about it.
It's interesting that she's reading an article, though, which makes me wonder what her natural instinct would be that she's trying to suppress. And I will admit, I do not feel like I'm always the most socially graceful person in a lot of situations.
Right.
And within my family and within friends, I mean, we've definitely, lost people, and I often don't know what to say. And I will admit, I've looked up things before to deal with it, only because my inclination, not that my inclination is right or wrong, but I'm so afraid of saying the wrong thing.
Yeah, no, and I have to, and I think that just shows that you care, because sometimes you don't want to go with the my condolences prayer. You really want to show that you care, but you don't want to say the wrong thing or trigger someone,
Yeah.
and in this particular case, with Misty believing that he killed himself, that is like it's very different kind of grieving, especially because of the issues that they had, and some of the things that are shared about them. Like, you don't know what you can say that would trigger her into relapsing. I mean, we already discussed that she just got out of rehab. You know what I mean? So what can you do or say that's not going to make her relapse?
No, absolutely. And I mean, I think maybe Misty wants to keep. Maybe Misty feels like she is really developing a friendship with Natalie finally. And I think she wants to impress her and do well. And I understand that. Also, love the little detail, blink and you miss it in the background, that Misty is a fan of the podcast My Favorite Murder. You could spot the mug
Yes.
on her desk, which makes 100% sense. That
Yes.
Misty is obsessed with true crime. So
I'm a big true crime person, so shout out to Misty for liking the right podcast.
absolutely. So okay, let's talk about the scene where this episode gets its name. Coach Ben is having a little trouble with his morning constitutional in the woods, and is leaning on Misty, literally leaning on Misty while he tries to make things happen, and is having problems. Misty saying, just bear down, just relax. And then out of nowhere, Misty starts singing Deep Blue Something's Breakfast at Tiffany's to try and help Coach Ben achieve his goal.
Have a bowel movement. Yes.
Yes. I would pay money.
What do you think about that?
I would pay money to see from the writer's room what other songs didn't make the cut. And I would love to just have a recording of I'm sure it was like a 3-hour long conversation about like, what about this song? No, this just doesn't feel right. What about this? No, that came out in 97. Like, I got it. Deep Blue Something's Breakfast at Tiffany's.
I never think about it from that perspective. That has to be a hilarious conversation and production meeting.
Oh my God. And it works too, because it is a love song. So it makes sense. Misty's essentially serenading him. I mean, but when she starts singing, like, you say we've got nothing in common, I'm just like, oh my God. like only would have been better if she would have started with like Paula Abdul's Opposites Attract or something, Like, I mean, why not just really go there,
You might as well. I mean, you're already in this particular situation and position. It's funny because this has been such a generator of memes online. I don't know if you've seen the memes about this scene or I don't want a relationship unless somebody's singing to me in the morning. Like, there's so many funny memes about this scene. I was like, did she just start singing? I rewinded it because I watched the first watch very late at night and I was starting to wonder if I imagined this scene was happening. But no, it was really happening.
Maybe Misty was going to sing Opposites Attract, but thought that the lyric, I take 2 steps forward, you take 2 steps back, would be triggering to Ben, given that he lost a leg recently.
Oh, Glenn. That would have actually been funny. That would have been some dark humor. Right? Like, come on. Come on, Misty.
Okay, so Isa, here's the question. You're in the woods. You need Misty's help. What song, and it's got to be era appropriate, 1996 or earlier, what song would you like Misty to serenade you with to help you release things and make the process a little smoother?
Oh my God. I don't know. Let me think. What about you? You're better with music than I am. So you tell me yours while I think.
I'm going to say Desiree's You Gotta Be. Because it's inspirational, it's uplifting, it's comforting, it's motivational. I think it would really help get things moving, and I would feel like I could go out there and tackle my day.
I want to be serenaded with the song My Girl. My girl, that's what I want.
Misty serenading you with My Girl. I've got sunshine on a cloudy day.
Yes. Especially, it's a plane crash. Things are dark, so I want to be sunshine for someone.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. I think you found your clip.
Oh my
from this
God,
one
this needs to be a
YouTube.
poll. We need to make this a poll. I want to know what songs people want to be serenaded to.
We'll post the clip on the Twitter, and we'll do a poll. We'll see what people think.
Yeah. I love it.
So, I mean, oh my God, like I tweeted this the other day, like I could watch an entire web series just about Misty and Coach Ben and just all of this, because this is just so crazy to me. You could tell from the opening pep rally shot that he always thought like, okay, Misty, tone it down a little bit. You're a little extra. But that like he's reliant on her now. This is so nuts.
Yes. Right. It's his worst nightmare or fantasy come true. You never know.
That's true. So we get to see the group realizing they're going to have to hunt to eat because they're out of food. And Coach Ben does know something about that. In present day, we see Natalie going back to her mom's trailer, where then we began the flashbacks of Natalie hanging out with Kevin. Her father comes in, things do not go well. Her dad is really unhappy about this. What do you think about Natalie and Kevin's relationship? Their friendship.
I didn't really give it more. I didn't really give this relationship more thought. Now you have me probably thinking more about it, and I think it's just because of what follows in this flashback. It's just so intense, the story and where it goes, that I completely forgot about Natalie and Kevin and just started wondering. I couldn't help but to only focus on where this ended up going.
No, absolutely, and I will just say this, because Kevin does continue to play a role, grown-up Kevin.
Right.
I think that Natalie was into Kevin at the time, but I think that part of the reason she's into Travis is because, or she remained into Travis and wouldn't be as attracted to present-day Kevin is because after going through what they went through, like someone like Kevin could never understand that, having not been through the same experience.
Nobody could ever understand what you've been through unless you were there, and for her to have that, it's I don't think that Kevin was ever, not that there was anything wrong with Kevin, and I really like present day Kevin. I just didn't think I didn't give their past relationship a lot of thought, but being able to walk out of there with someone that experienced that is going to understand you, I don't think that can be replaced.
Absolutely. And we'll talk more about what happens with Natalie. So her father comes in, he's very angry, accusing her of doing, nefarious behavior, like hooking up basically with Kevin while he's away. Seems like this is not the first time this has happened before. We then get Thaisa getting ready to go to a fundraising dinner. We flash back to 96 where all the girls are learning to use a rifle or seeing who can use a rifle and be steady by placing a coin on it. And we do see that Travis and Natalie are the finalists there. Sort of, they keep really heavily foreshadowing, like Natalie's history with guns. And we know that's going to play into her father based on what's happening. And we'll talk about that in depth. But two scenes here, and this is the opening of... This is the closest thing to confirmation we have of what has become one of the biggest fan theories in all of Yellowjackets fandom. And I just want to get to this, and I want to talk about Natalie and her dad a little bit later. But we see Shauna, not interested in guns, journaling. We know she keeps journals based on the first episode. Interrupted by Javi, who asks what she's doing. She gives Javi a piece of paper. Seems like the idea of an outlet's going to give Javi comfort. We then flash immediately to present day Shauna in the mirror, putting on her makeup and having a flashback. And the flashback is about her having sex with Adam in the hotel at the end of episode 3. Now, what do we see on Adam's back? An elaborate tattoo that, for you freeze framers out there, for you citizen detectives, looks like mountains, looks like maybe some directions, some compass, a very elaborate back piece that he has. So, what's the first thing I do when I see this? Go to Peter, what's his name? Peter, I'm blanking on his name. Peter, is it Gadot or Gadio? I go to Peter's Instagram page. Peter does not have any tattoos, naturally. This wasn't the actor's tattoo. When he's got a role in Queen of the South, he has fake tattoos on his neck there as well. This was intentional, something they added to the character. Now, Adam is a mystery. Adam is very interested in Shauna. Based on the placement of these two scenes, brings us to the Javi is Adam is Javi theory, that Adam is a grown-up version of Javi who is very interested in reconnecting with Shauna, and Shauna does not recognize him.
What?
Wait, you're new to this theory? This is, I think this is like one of the most prevalent theories in Yellowjackets fandom.
What? No, I didn't. I saw somebody trying to decipher what the tattoo was. I haven't gotten to this theory. I am shook.
So, me, Mr. Screenshot.
God, I'm rewatching all these episodes tonight now. Now you got me going for a fourth watch.
Someone on Twitter, and I want to find her name to give her credit on this because this was so good. Okay, so someone on Twitter who is even more of an obsessive citizen detective than I am. Let me just find her name quickly because I want to credit her on this. Okay, so it's at TV Party Planner. She noticed that if you go back to episode 1, at the end, when Shauna goes to her safe and pulls out her journals, in there, you could see underneath the journals is a piece of paper with a drawing of mountains on it. And if you take that,
I do know that.
So it's not identical to what is on Adam's back, the tattoo style. But if you were to tell me, Shauna gave Javi paper, Javi drew to cope with things, Adam has a tattoo on his back of mountains and an interest in Shauna. And we already learned in episode 2 that Travis went off the grid and changed his name. Who is to say Javi did not do the same for privacy purposes and is not now Adam, who seems to be roughly the same age difference with Shauna grown up as Javi did as a child?
I'm mind blown. I guess I gotta see where the story goes. I can see why people will come up with this theory, but I feel like people like Misty even was able to sniff out Travis. Why wouldn't she be able to find Javi?
I mean, she didn't find everyone, right? And she said, oh God, I'm thinking about this now. Remember, she made a big deal of how hard it was to find Travis?
Yes.
I don't know.
No, I see your point, but we don't know that Travis makes it, but we don't know what happens with Javi. So now you got me. Now I'm telling you, I'm rewatching.
So if you go to my Twitter at Glenn Rubenstein, you could see there what I did, because I like using the face swaps, and I like doing these silly little things. I did one comparing younger I mapped Melanie Linsky from the 90s over the teenage Shauna to kind of see what that looks like. I did a face swap on my Twitter
Oh
of
my
Javi and
god,
Adam.
I'm on your Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm
So I
on your
took
Twitter right
Javi's
now.
face and put it on adult Adam and Adam's face. And I even aged him and de-aged him to kind of make it work to see. And it's not that far off. It is not that far off. It is possible. I could be wrong, but it is possible.
Oh my god. Wow. Yeah, no, I can see it. See, I see the phrase, the tattoo. That I've been like trying to see a lot of people figure out the tattoo and all that, but this I'm new to this theory. God, you're gonna make me when we get done podcasting. I'm gonna be texting you now because I'm gonna watch again. I already know it.
And it seems like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to set us up for disappointment. I feel like the creators of the show, because remember, when they went to pitch this to Showtime, they had a 5-year plan. This wasn't like Lost or somebody where like, oh, we did it and we figured it out as we went. They have a 5-year plan for the story. And we know from interviews that at the end of season 1 in 96, they're not even going to be a winter yet. So we know that this is going to take a while to play this out. Like there are mysteries upon mysteries. We'll talk about in future episodes. I think Javi, I think Adam's identity, we might be learning sooner rather than later, but we'll talk about that in another episode. We have the firing range scene. We do learn a key detail from Coach Ben because they say, why are we firing all these bullets? Shouldn't we be saving them? And Coach Ben says, hey, this guy was preparing for the apocalypse. He has an unlimited supply of ammo. So that's a good, we know they're going to be able to hunt. We go to the restaurant where Natalie's having dinner with Kevin. Catching up with him, we learn how he became a cop. But what's most interesting, and oh my God, again, Misty steals the show. Misty brought one of her patients with her from the old folks' home to spy on Natalie. Misty ordering a chocolate martini, which I didn't know people actually ordered.
A chocolate martini.
Yes. No offense to you, chocolate martini drink. Hey,
I don't think he ordered that. I thought she ordered that because Natalie likes chocolate.
Oh, what she was going to go like send one over to the table, you know? Maybe.
No, yeah, because she's trying to be like Natalie or have more in common with Natalie. So she ordered a chocolate martini to pretend she loves chocolate too.
There you go. She's trying to get Natalie.
She's not there to spy. She's there to protect her.
No, and
yeah, she said she was there to protect her and have her back.
And she's not a spy. She's a citizen detective.
Citizen detective. Some people call them couch detectives too, but I like citizen better.
Yes, absolutely. This is where we got the great Go Nuts meme from, because her drinking companion wants to order a good bottle of scotch. And she says, I'm not going to stop you, Go Nuts. This is the thing the residents of that
Can't get enough of Misty.
elderly care home need to learn. If you're nice to Misty, Misty's nice to you. It's pretty simple. You know?
Yeah.
You can make this as hard or as easy as you want to. Absolutely.
She's so complex, yet so simple.
So the Taissa fundraiser story, I think we could talk about those segments in one. Taissa is very much trying to attract a wealthy donor at this dinner party, at this function, because of course, you know, in politics, it's all about raising money. She's trying to get to this donor all night to have a conversation with her. People, of course, are asking her questions about the time in the woods. We do learn that Taissa is a vegetarian because she accidentally eats something with meat and spits it out. Taissa goes away alone to kind of collect her thoughts after she has a vision of a wolf. She follows that wolf and goes to collect her thoughts. And then the wealthy donor meets up with her. They have this conversation about politics. And the wealthy donor basically says, I'll give you an unlimited amount of money, but you have to tell me what really happened out there. Bragging about how people confide their secrets. You say, if somebody brags to you how many people tell them their secrets, does that make you trust somebody more or less?
Don't tell them your secret.
Yeah, do not tell them your secret.
No, that makes me trust them less. I will not trust you if you tell me everybody tells me their secrets. That makes you mad suspicious to me.
Yes. It's a very weird tactic. It's a very weird tactic.
And not to bring a wrestling term into this, but when this lady first comes out to talk to Taissa, I thought she was so likable, and the heel turn happened so fast.
Yeah.
She went from, oh my God, this lady's kind of likable to, no, I don't like you, and I'm glad that Taisa told you off.
And again, like I don't say I need this, but I would like to just see a little backstory. You explain why Taisa wants to go through all this. Like, why are you putting
Right.
yourself? Like, the question that has followed you around for the last 25 years is basically like, so do you have to eat people to survive? Like, you're putting yourself in a situation where people are going to not ignore that, you know? I mean, think about like political candidates that we talk about, like, oh, did they dodge the draft in Vietnam, or, you know, did they do X, Y, or Z, or what about their financial dealings? Like, could you imagine if in real life we had an actual political candidate where it's like, they might have eaten somebody in the mountains? Like, cable news would nonstop be talking about that. I mean, I know she's only a state senator, but you have to think this is a distraction from the campaign.
Yes, and if you look at the kind of lifestyles that everybody else that survived has taken, she's just so different from everything. Very, very layered character Taisa is. But yeah, I always wonder. I was like, why is she so public about it? Which makes me very suspicious about her.
So she tells the donor basically to F off.
Yes.
We didn't see it in this episode. And this isn't a spoiler, this is a guess. I think the donor is going to say something like, I respect you more for telling me to F off and come and give her the money anyhow. Like, I think that might be the resolution from all this.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
It was very
I think so too.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna make Taisa more suspicious to the donor, and somebody's gonna dig in more information on her, you know, because it's like, if nothing really happened out there, then why didn't she tell me?
I know they have their standard line. We scavenged, we prayed, we starved. You're not watching Better Call Saul, are you?
No.
Okay, so with spoiler for people that are not caught up on the latest season, like Bob Odenkirk as Saul Goodman is stuck in the desert, and he has someone like secretly help him that helps him make it through the desert, and they have to like kill some people, and there's all this stuff. The cartel that set him up there is really curious. How did you survive in the desert? Because he won't give up that he had this other guy helping him, right? So they're like, what are you not telling us? Right. And then Saul like gives a fake thing because he's like, okay, at one point I had to drink my own urine. There, I'm embarrassed. I told you about it. Like, I don't like, again, not trying to like outsmart the creators, but I don't understand why the survivors don't have their like fake secret. You know what I mean? Like, to tell people to make them think that they're trusting them, but not really, you know?
Right.
I had a friend.
Yeah, but the problem is that I feel like the secret here will have to be told by so many people, and it will have to be so consistent that I think it's better to go with the line, like they said, the public line, because that's easier for everybody to remember. As if you're going to make a secret or a story, people are going to start tweaking it, and then it's going to come out that they're lying.
It's true. I could see it going wrong, but I'm saying that layers, right? You want layers. You want stuff that you reveal a little bit to kind of throw people off the scent. So you talked about this, about episode 3. We talked about Shauna's arrested development and missing out on those teenage years. And she is out with Adam, getting someone to buy them cheap booze, saying that, like, I lost my ID. Will you buy me alcohol? The quintessential teenage drinking experience. They're playing miniature golf. They're swimming in a lake or a river. What do you make of this, of her trying to, you know, as you put it, like basically relive what she missed out on, you know?
Yeah, this is, in my opinion, the most likable that Shauna had came up to this point. So relatable, and the things that she was choosing to do with Adam, even though she was, you know, staring in the mirror and fantasizing about their escapade. This is what she chooses to do in her night out with him. I thought it was cute. I really liked this date night for her.
It was good. Oh, Melanie Linsky was so good when she was asking the guy to buy the alcohol, and he was like, "Is this some sort of sex thing?" And she was like, "You know what? It might be, but we just don't have it figured it out yet."
I love when the teenager was like, "You're not gonna get carded, lady." I was like, "What a jerk!"
Melanie Linsky got nominated for a Critics' Choice Award for Best Actress, and she is just,
I saw.
I don't know that we're putting her over or not in this. I know Christina Ricci is like stealing the show, and Juliette Lewis. I mean, everyone in this is doing some of the best work of their career, but I'm telling you, Shauna, as a smart person who does dumb things, like Shauna is,
Hmm.
she could be easily, if they cast the wrong actress, the most unlikable person in this show. But she's
Yes,
managing to convey like so much vulnerability and emotion.
yes,
It's
and
so good.
this date night for me was a turning point for me and how I saw the Shauna character.
No, absolutely. So back at the restaurant, Misty notices that Jessica Roberts is there, tries to warn Natalie, and then Natalie doesn't seem to care. Misty goes up to Jessica Roberts and basically threatens her and says, "You think you shouldn't be scared of me, but you should."
Hmm. Love this badass.
And this, I keep coming back to this. I think Misty is really comfortable with who Misty is. Like, I wouldn't get up and do this. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I would make eye contact with someone and they'd come over to me, perhaps, and then I would talk to them. But I wouldn't just get up and
Yeah,
tell somebody off like this.
right, right. But Misty, I'm telling you, unapologetically herself, and that's why we love her.
So good. Natalie leaves with Kevin. We see more back in the woods. There's hunting and there's gathering going on and foraging going on, including the warning. I believe it's Aquila saying, don't eat that mushroom; it's poisonous. Van saying like, kill you poisonous or trip your balls off poisonous. Um,
Right.
oh, so good. Um, and then we have this was interesting that they find an airplane. They find a Cessna. Like this happened very fast,
Yes.
exceptionally fast. That they find the Cessna. They start the Cessna. Jackie pushes Van out of the way before she dies. Jackie's about to die. Laura Lee starts the plane and then it just stops completely.
Yes. Almost died.
I mean, we'll see how that factors into things. But so what I think is good is this further establishes that this is how far remote they are. That the guy who's dead in the cabin flew there by plane because there's no other way to get there. Like hikers are not gonna stumble across them.
Yes. Exactly.
Uh,
Which I mean should get them a little bit of understanding of why it's taking so long to rescue them.
no, absolutely. And we go from there to Natalie with Kevin, and Kevin's basically confessing, "I've always loved you." Tries to kiss Natalie, and Natalie is basically saying, "I'm just really broke up about Travis," which is, I mean, okay. So let's break this down now as we talk about this aspect of Natalie's story. Do you think that between the mixtape, giving Travis the mixtape, going out with him, having interest in him, having a good time, almost kissing him, and then bringing up the Travis tragedy to Kevin, do you think that Natalie was basically playing Kevin this entire time? Because Kevin does offer to get the toxicology report to find out if Travis had any drugs or alcohol in his system. Do you think this was an elaborate ruse by Natalie to get what she wanted out of Kevin?
Yes, I do. I think
Uh,
things change later on for her, but I do think all she was trying to do was use Kevin here. Yes.
it's interesting.
Don't
It's
you? You don't think so? You think he was like?
well,
Do you think he?
I mean, yeah, I get it when I saw it happening. I think at first I wanted to believe. Let me just put it this way: if like I would be
Hmm.
super bummed out if I reconnected with someone from like high school that I was friends with and that I had a crush on, and it was like, oh, we're going out as adults, and then it was like, oh, I'm just so distracted because I need you to do this favor for me. Like Kevin handled this. Like I like to think I would see through that pretty quickly and just be like, what the fuck, man? Like this would be weird.
Right. Right, right. But I do think that with her using the whole, staying sober, kind of thing. They helped each other stay sober. Maybe he felt bad or he felt like he could help, and that's why he did it. And obviously, he's gonna always be. He likes her. He's trying to get her back. Maybe
Yeah,
that's what it'll take.
yeah, no, I get it, man. I mean, I've done some crazy things in the name of infatuation, so I guess I understand. But so we do flash back to more of Natalie and Travis, and when they're out hunting, they go back to the crash site. Travis wants to get the ring that his father was wearing to give it to Javi. And then they bond and have a conversation. We learned, we haven't talked about Flex yet, about Travis's nickname Flex, that everyone was calling him the nickname that he hates. It turns out that when he had spinal fusion surgery, he came back, somebody started a rumor that he had a rib removed so he could perform fellatio on himself, which he confirms that he cannot. And he hates the nickname. I would just say own it, dude, at this point. Kids are cruel. Kids are really shitty. That's my takeaway from all that.
Kids are very cruel, very, very cruel. Yes, and even back in the 90s.
Oh my god! But this was a really nice moment between them. I mean, what did you think of this build to their relationship?
I like seeing Travis start to open up to Natalie, and again, because now we know Travis' fate, it starts making more sense why Natalie is so taken back by the loss of Travis.
It's just so sad. Like, tell us a character died, and then make us really care about the character.
Care for him.
Yeah, like I mean, it's
Yes.
it's. I mean,
Yes, it's borderline cruel. It's borderline cruel
I
because
know.
you don't start caring about Travis until you realize that he's gone.
Yeah, but I mean, bravo to the creators for coming up with this and setting this up. We then flash back and get the resolution. More of the resolution. I guess we could talk about this all right now about Natalie and her father. So after the situation of being walked in on with Kevin, she pulls a gun on her dad. I mean, her dad's being very cruel to her, calling her a slut, really traumatizing her, both physically, verbally. I mean, this is just abuse on every level. We see how he is to her mom. She pulls a gun on him, and then like he's just, I mean, even being more of a dick of like, what are you going to do? Kill me? The safety's on, whatever. And then he turns the safety off, walks away holding the gun. Natalie yells at him. He says that she's worthless. She says that he's worthless. Turns around, trips, and shoots himself essentially in an accident. What did you think of this revelation and that choice of having him cause his own death rather than Natalie being the one to shoot him?
I was shocked by this. Once she pulls out the gun, and because of what we know her character this far, I was 100% sure that she was going to be the one to shoot him, and that's what kind of like staggered the lifestyle that she chose and some of the choices that she made for herself. So I thought this was an interesting choice to have. It was a twist that I wasn't expecting. I guess in a show full of twists that you're not expecting, this was one that really caught me by surprise.
And I have to say, how can I put this? I like this choice of how they had it happen because I think that it would have been a little cliche. I mean, okay, here's the cliched version that we've seen a million times. Not a million, but we've seen this a lot. Natalie shoots him. The mom makes up a story that they were being attacked and it was self-defense. Natalie, is let go and lives with this decision the rest of her life. But we know that she's capable of pulling the trigger. And she tried to because the safety was on, but she didn't actually do it. I'm not saying he didn't deserve this. I mean, I think, again, no court in the land would convict her if she had shot him. But I think that this adds another layer about the fact that I didn't do it, but I'm responsible for it. That just makes Natalie an even more complicated character. And I really like that.
Right. Because she's living with a whole different kind of guilt. And there's a line, I don't know if it happened already, but I know there's one part that they're talking about the fathers not being the nicest, but I know that at one point Natalie says it's still sucks when they're gone,
Yeah.
which is why I thought that she was the one responsible for it. But after seeing this, it makes sense that she still feels that guilt or responsible over his death.
And I think that's where it's really true to life, right? I think even if we have family members that are abusive or, hurt us in some way, it's like, it's a very difficult situation to unpack because you are related to this person.
Hmm.
There are the societal norms of, what family should mean. And, if there's something that I really love about this show, and I've seen this posited elsewhere, is that the show Yellow Jackets is largely about young women growing up and surviving trauma, and to add on to that, it's not just the trauma of the plane crash and what they went through in the wilderness, because we see in the next in one of the last scenes that before Shauna jumps and goes swimming with Adam, who's, by the way, his back is to her the whole time, so she hasn't seen that tattoo that we know of. But Shauna is visited by a vision of Jackie telling her this is a bad idea. And to build off that point, so we have the tragedy of the plane crash and then being haunted by what happened in the woods. But I think now we can talk about this, that if you look at this show, and I think what is so incredible about it, it's that we now have our four main characters that are all haunted and living with trauma beyond just the plane crash. We've now had it established Natalie is haunted by what happened with her father, her relationship with father and how he died. Thaisa is haunted by her grandmother's
Right.
death. Shauna is haunted by Jackie and her betrayal of Jackie with Jeff and the betrayal of who was her best friend. And I think Misty is haunted still, even with her adjustment, being well adjusted as an adult, she is haunted by the trauma of being bullied and ostracized so much as a young girl. And I just think that for me, where the show really connects is not everyone can relate to being in a plane crash or having to resort to cannibalism, but I think everyone can relate to how our issues that happen to us in childhood and when we're teenagers, like, affect us into adulthood.
The rest of your life.
Yeah. And the decisions we make and the people we become.
Yes, and you see these women being so traumatized or trying to put the pieces together of themselves, even as full-grown women, and you go to see that we're not just talking about this plane crash. They're such complex characters, and they went through so many things that it just makes it so easy to relate. There's so many stories being told here that I feel like most of us have been through similar situations. Not the plane crash or eating humans, like you said, but there's a lot of us that can relate with a lot of the situations that we're seeing here, which makes the show that much more enjoyable.
And that's the thing. I mean, and maybe the flashback structure does it, but I mean, it's just like, that's part of the reason why I fucking love this show so much, is because Bart and Ashley, who created the show, understand and are portraying this idea that all these things that happen to us when we're younger, like, shape who we become. Right. And there are some things that we overcome, and there's some things where it's like we still have these fallbacks. Flaw is kind of a cliche term, but we still have these issues that we deal with and that manifest themselves in ways that we can't quite predict throughout our life. And that's why I just think, like, for me, when I had that realization in this episode, when we saw Jackie and Shauna and understanding that, it was just like, holy shit, this is like layer upon layer about how people grow up and deal with trauma. Right. Both in the exception, the thing that happened with Natalie, like, her dad, like, the abuse he was doing is incredibly common. People having betrayals in friendship is incredibly common. Misty's trauma is incredibly common. Thaisa, I don't know anyone personally who's been through that, but I'm not saying it doesn't exist.
Yeah, but there's still other things that she's dealing with that makes her a relatable character in one way or another. Maybe not the supernatural grandma no eyes or cannibalism things, but just the lifestyle that she lives now just also makes her a very relatable, character for some people.
And I hope we explore more of her backstory, because I'm very intrigued to know more. And there are themes of that spelling it. In future episodes, we'll talk about how we're already seeing other characters are dealing with and overcoming things that sort of dictate who they are, and perhaps dictate why, in addition to being national level athletes, why they have the strength to navigate this scenario in the woods. episodes. It was very interesting.
Right.
To that
Yes.
end, Travis and Natalie successfully shot a deer. They bring it back. Coach says, we have to bleed it out. Who wants to give it a try? And Misty's hand immediately raises in the air. The coach does not see it, giving Shauna the honors, which she's surprisingly comfortable with. Sammy Henrotti, that plays Misty in every goddamn scene she's in. Like, on rewatch, if you just watch what she is doing, like, she is adding so much to everything.
Right.
She is so good.
She's awesome. I love
absolutely.
young Misty, and I love Misty. It's just played so perfectly by both actresses. It's incredible.
After 5 seasons, when this show ends, I want the spinoff Misty. Bring both Sammy and Christina back. I want young, like kind of like young Sheldon. I want young Misty, older Misty. That can run another 5 years. Should be a citizen detective. She'll be solving cases and solving crimes. Like, the show
Misty can just start her own. She can start her own YouTube channel telling true crime stories in the Misty character.
Yes, it's like the Citizen Detective Agency. Oh my God, the possibilities are endless. But speaking of which, Misty calls Shauna. We learn they have not spoken in some time. Shauna, returning home, gets the call from Misty and finds out Travis is dead, killed himself. This prompts something in Shauna. And it's an interesting reveal because we haven't seen them interact. We also haven't seen Misty and Taissa interact yet. So we have that to look forward to. But overall, like 3 and 4, from the shift from like survivalism and cannibalism and horrible things happen to being more of like a mystery detective, unfolding logistical show. What did you think about 3 and 4, watching them back to back with 1 and 2?
I thought 3 and 4 did a better job at developing these characters, and getting you to get more involved in them because of their past struggles. You get to know so much more about them that it's like, okay, before we go into the real shit that went down, I need you to know who these girls are and what they've been through. And I thought that 3 and 4 did a good job at telling those stories while still keeping you involved in their situation current day and during the plane crash.
Yeah, it's really amazing. I think that, how should I put this? I think if we had started with episodes more like 3 and 4, the show wouldn't have got people's attention as so much. I think it would have been, I don't know why I'm drawing a comparison to this, but I think it would have been more like, not exactly, but more like Good Girls on NBC and Netflix, or something where we're seeing women leading complicated lives that are navigating things, and maybe we reveal some past stuff. But I think that by telling us, like, okay, the shit went down 25 years ago, and then this is what they're doing with their lives now. Right. This is how what happened then affects this. And now learning what happened before the plane crash affected the plane crash. Like, I love how they did it. I know some people are let down by 3 and 4 not being like the nonstop insanity of the first 2 episodes, but I really like this pace. And like, I look forward to the show every week.
Me too, and I thought they did a good job by grasping your attention and being a little bit darker on 1 and 2, because you really need to get to know how they got to that. And in 3 and 4, you really become invested in the characters. And then now moving forward, things get more crazy, things get more wild, and now you're familiar with all of them. You're invested. You already have your favorite characters picked out. It's perfect for the the high end and the cliff that will happen, and then hopefully the end, and we'll be looking forward to season 2. You know what I mean? I thought the pace in which they're telling the story is one of my favorite things about the show, especially with so many moving timelines, and I don't feel confused. I feel even more invested.
It's amazing how fast it goes by each week.
Yes. Yes, I was a little mad at episode 6 because I was caught up, remember, when I got to binge a few of them, so I was happy. But then now that I'm caught up and I'm watching 1 episode at a time, I don't feel like it's enough. Like, I can't get enough. I'm like, why was that so short? I need more. Release 2 at a time.
So here's my weekly Yellowjackets schedule. I watch the new episode when it goes live on Showtime, it airs Sunday night, but it goes live on Showtime 12 midnight Eastern, Saturday night, 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. Pacific. So watch the episode like as soon as I can. Then like watch the coming next week part, but don't really pay attention to that yet. Go on Reddit, go on Twitter, see what people are talking about, the theories, dissect the episode. And then once that's sunk in, then I watch coming next week and try and figure out like, okay, where's this going? What's going to happen? And then midweek, little pro tip, the Viacom Showtime press site puts up promo photos for the next episode, like a couple days before, and they keep adding more throughout the week. So like, for instance, right now for episode 7, you'll see like a couple photos, but if you go there Saturday, you'll see a bunch. I don't like looking at all of them because I'm afraid, it's just a couple hours to watch the episode. I'm going to spoil it, but I don't know if it's been this way for you, but during the week, I'm just like, I'm spending way too much time thinking about this show.
Yeah, me too. So I'm like obsessed with it. And what I did for anybody that's listening or watching us and is going to start watching, my personal viewing experience was to not get into any conspiracies or fan theories or Reddits or anything until I was caught up. So that's why some of the theories that you're giving me, I'm so new to, is because I didn't want to go into any of that, because I didn't want to have somebody else's opinions or theories cloud how I will watch the show, right? But now that I'm caught up, I cannot stop reading and looking at things. But I wasn't even looking at your Twitter until I was caught up, because I know you tweet a lot about it. And I was like, okay, I don't want to have different perspective or go thinking that something's going to happen and I don't know if it's true or not. So now is when I'm getting into the conspiracy theories and commenting and like posting my thoughts on things, and looking up videos. But, I don't know how people will want to watch it, but I personally enjoy not reading any of the conspiracy theories until after I got caught up.
Well, and I don't think this show would be as big if it was bingeable. Well, no, pardon me. I think the show, I think people will be talking about it for like a week and then we forget about it the way we do every binge watch show. Like, I think more people, if it was like on HBO or Netflix, I think more like if it was on Netflix, more people would have talked about it for a weekend and then we just be on to the next thing.
And then you get over it, which is why I always like how Netflix released their stuff, because I'm like, I just told you, it's like, I can't get enough. I want to watch it. But you're right. You watch the whole season when it comes out, then you forget about it. And then when the next season is coming out, you pretty much have to rewatch it because you forgot about it. And you don't have that anticipation of waiting for this next episode to come out like back in the day, So I love that they're doing it weekly, one show, and we have to like look forward to it and wait. It generates more buzz for us waiting to see what's going to happen.
Well, and in fact, I think if you look at the numbers, I forget what it was. I think 3 and 4 were maybe a little soft, but then 5 like doubled its live audience. And Showtime revealed that after Dexter, it's like the most streamed show. I think a lot of people are signing up for Showtime just for this. Because I'll be honest, I haven't had Showtime in 30 years. I've been an HBO guy. So for me, I signed up for Showtime. I think that a lot of people are doing the same. And the fact Showtime renewed it after 5 episodes, I mean, it's just a testament to like how this is snowballing. And I think it's only going to get bigger,
Yeah. Yeah, I had Showtime and I never even checked it, and now I've been staying tuned to this. Maybe I'll check out some other shows. I need to get caught up with the new Dexters, because I used to watch it and then I haven't watched the new episodes, which I heard are good, but I need to make some time for it.
Well, I hope this gets big enough that we see like novelizations. Like, I want like separate book series about the character. Like, I want extended universe mythology about this. I want them to release like a companion scrapbook, like a fake yearbook. Apparently they made a fake yearbook when they were pitching the show. That was like one of the things that they used to get networks interested. There's just so much out there. Like, it's so cool. And appreciate everyone that's watching this, that's listening to us talk about this journey. I know it's going to get crazy. So we're going to do 5 and 6 next together as one episode. And then after that, every week, probably every Sunday for episode 7, 8, and 9, we're going to have 7, 8, 9, and 10. We're going to have the reactions. Maybe for episode 10, since you'll be back in New York, maybe we'll watch it and do an immediate reaction after, and then do like a more in-depth one a couple days later, when that comes out. Because 10, I'm sure 10 is going to be just like, 10's just going to drop bombs at the end of the season. Absolutely.
I know. I can't wait for it. Yes.
So you can follow Isa at NYC Demon Diva. That's Diva with a 1. You can follow me at Glenn Rubenstein. If you have email for us, we are yellowjacketsbuzz at gmail.com. And send in those questions and theories. And this is going to be fun. I'm so glad we're doing this, Isa.
Me too. I'm excited, and we'll have 5 and 6 up soon as well. So I
Absolutely.
can't wait for people to just get caught up and discuss their theories with us.
Totally. Well, take care, everybody, and we'll catch you back here next time on Yellowjackets Buzz.
Bye.
Cool.
Bye.